Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. How we doing today? Great. I think we better try that again. How we doing today? Great. That's a little better. Coach Fingers, that meets your level of juice? About 6. Let's see if we can do it just a little bit better. How we doing today? Much better. I like it. I like it. Well, I would first like to say thank you for everybody coming today, and we'd like to thank Poncheros for their support, Hardrocker Athletics, and providing us these wonderful burritos. Make sure that everybody gets one, because I see Dr. Simonson is in the room, which means his pockets will be full as he's walking out. Did I mention that I love October? Last week I think I mentioned that. Although last night's Yankee game did not make me love October in any way, shape, or form. I know there are a few Boston fans in the room here, but that was a little depressing last night. What's going on? Well, we got men's golf, which is down at Walnut Creek Preserve in Westminster, Colorado, playing golf of all things in 38-degree rainy weather. I think there are a lot of other better places to be. That's just me, but kudos to them for sticking it out and giving it their all. Cross country is going to be participating this weekend at MSU Billings, and soccer's on the road in the Denver metropolitan area, and Andrew talked a little bit about that later. Volleyball is at Adams State, lovely Alamosa, and Fort Lewis Durango, Colorado. Football, we're at home, obviously, 1 o'clock, Dunham Field against Adams State. And coming up down the road, we're going to have November 3rd and 4th, we're going to have our first esports convention and state championship taking place here in the King Center. We'll get Wyatt up here next week to talk about that a little bit and give us a preview. So right now, I'm going to invite our first speaker up here, and that is our head men's soccer coach, Andrew Conniff.
Thank you all for being here. I know there's a football game a lot of you want to hear about, so I'll keep this relatively quick. No fun graphics or videos for you. From the past weekend, we played Westminster on Friday, and we lost 2-0. They're a really good team. Their coach has a lot of experience and success over me, but he's a great guy to coach against. He's fun to try and position our players against. There's a lot of good matchups. It was 0-0 for about 70 minutes before they scored, and as we started pushing numbers forward, they found another goal. But they're in the conference right now, and for us to go toe-to-toe with them for that long, it's a good sign for us. Not discouraged from that at all. And then coming out on Sunday, we adjusted some things, we put some guys in new spots. We had tons of, I'm a very attacking coach. I think I talk about that probably each week that we don't score. But on Sunday we ended up 0-0, which we're happy to get a result, but I want to see us popping off on goals every single week. I want to see players getting hat tricks. I want to see us celebrating. For me, that's fun. For bystanders, for fans, I think that's a bit more fun to see as well. But it was a good step in the right direction for us to grind out a result. 110 minutes of no goals in soccer is usually not a great testament to how the game is played. Some of our individuals, again, Kyle Deldovich, our goalkeeper, stepped up and made some incredible saves, keeping us in that game. Brendan Lamorio, our freshman, has played center back, outside back, holding mid. And if we could just clone a bunch of him, I think we'd be really good. He's been great. Another individual, Sterling McKenzie, is a sophomore from Windsor, Colorado. His older brother Noah is a senior. And Sterling is somebody who has incredible technical ability and ability on the ball to create things for us. And we've asked him to play a bit deeper on the field and have more of a defensive role so that we can build out better. And he has done that. And this weekend, I wish I could show you his highlight reel, because he was sticking in tackles, sliding all over the field, and that opened up all the things he can do offensively. And it was a lot of fun to watch, to see a player take that on. Because not a lot of guys want to become more defensive, they all want to become more attacking, and he shouldered that responsibility, and that's a big part of us getting that result. Another player, Bradley Day, stepped in. He's played a lot of outside back for us, and if you watch the games, he is the ginger flying up the sideline. He's incredibly pacey, incredibly aggressive. We moved him into a more central role defensively because he is very vocal. And a few bumps aside, he helped us through to a 0-0 result. And us not conceding is directly because of the work he put in. This week ahead, we play Metro State and Colorado Christian. Something I've preached this year, or I've been asking for, is we want to get a double result weekend. And we haven't had that in the RMAC before, where we have a win and a win, a draw and a draw, even 2 draws. This is a weekend, again, we hosted MSU and CCU 2 weeks ago. Thought we could have it that weekend. We lost 1-0 to Metro while we beat CCU. We have another great shot at it. We've changed some things. We have some of the younger players starting to step up more and more. Yeah, I think this is a really good chance for us to go down to Denver and have that double result. Again, just to comment on our defense, we've conceded 7 goals in 6 games, which is a very, very good rate. In that time, we've scored 5 goals, so we're really not too far off from getting the results that we want. I'd rather see that 10 goals in 6 games. And that's on my responsibility. I work with our attacking players, I work in our possession, in the midfield, and Coach Thompson largely works with our goalkeepers. So that's on me to step up, that's on some of our individuals to find the back of the net. But we feel really good about what we've done. We're excited to go and get our double result this weekend. Are there any questions for me? Coach Luxton, yes.
This time of year late in the season, how important is depth for you guys? Get a little more fatigued and anything else later in the season?
We had our starting center back, Brenton Brackey, go off with a shoulder injury, and we likely won't have him for a few weeks. And so that is definitely going to be tested this weekend in terms of our depth. We redshirt a lot of our players to give them the chance to grow so that they're ready in their second year to make an instant impact. So our depth is being tested right now, and we have a lot of confidence in some of the younger guys to expand into bigger roles. I mentioned Brendan Lamorio, us being able to put him in different spots helps that depth a lot. All of a sudden we're not stretched to go to a 3rd option or 4th option center back, because we can move him back from the midfield and put in someone who plays in the midfield regularly in his place. So that's some of the I like about soccer is we have flexibility to do different things. We can put a player like Brennan back at center back, and we can try and pass out of the back more. Or we could put somebody like, we have a big body in Nick House, who often plays center mid. We could put him at center back and be a bit more physical and direct. So our depth usually changes our style a bit. But we have a lot of guys who are eager to play. Our mentality is really good that in training and after a game on Sunday, if guys play in the game, if they get minutes, they're generally pretty happy, right? They want to contribute to our success. So our depth, even the challenges with it is a good thing for us. They get a chance to show what they can do. All right, thank you.
I have a question. For soccer, which are the conferences that are regarded as the powerhouses?
The RMAC often is because of Colorado Mines, Colorado Mesa, and Regis University. We're generally considered one of the 2nd or 3rd best conferences. Down in, I always get the name wrong, but down in Florida there's Rollins College is very good, Lander University in South Carolina is very good. It seems like in the southeast, that is kind of the soccer powerhouses are there, and they're largely international teams. They get a lot of English, Spanish, Italian players over there. My good friend coaches at Regis, he was there for their preseason contest, and he said the teams in Florida are on a bit of another level, but then they also went to Portland and played some of the GNAC teams and said we're much better than them. So we find ourselves about 3rd in the conference rankings.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, thank you all.
Just to stress a little knowledge that I have on soccer, which is very little. This isn't working, by the way. If you look at some of the rosters when they come in and play us, for example, Colorado Mines, Colorado Mesa. Who else have we played from Colorado that's been in town? Metro. Actually, we haven't played Mesa yet, but Metro and Mines, I know for sure, we actually have more Colorado kids on our roster than they do. So Andrew's doing an exceptional job of getting down into Colorado, which is a recruiting hub for us, I think, as an institution, let alone athletics, just by the pure population base. Nothing against the state of South Dakota. We've got to continue to do that. The more that we create exposure down in that metro area, we'll get better kids, theoretically, to come play for us. And Andrew's exactly right. Even when I was in the Great Lakes Valley Conference, which is just okay in soccer, but Rockhurst University in the Kansas City Metro, they have 90 guys to start their year for soccer. They'll have 2 teams, and a majority of their A team will be filled with international kids who have either played semi-professional in Europe or have been doing it since they've been yay high, and that's all they've ever done. So Andrews and his coaching staff are doing an exceptional job, and I applaud what you're doing on very cultured means. So thank you. Our next speaker is our head women's volleyball coach, Coach Lauren Torvi, and she has a special guest to talk to us today. So come on up, Coach.
Long journey up here today. How's everybody feeling? Hear me okay? So congratulations to football, first off, that was fantastic. We had 2 recruits come in from out of state, so glad somebody pulled it together. That was good. We had a long week. We had 3 matches, and we also had 3 matches last week, so that's 6 matches in 14 days. It's a lot. But we had an exciting match against Black Hills in the sense of we had a great turnout, a great fan base. That fan was there. It was a very exciting match to play. Unfortunately, we did not pull it together. However, there's some good things happening with our culture, and we're going to continue to rely on that. We played Colorado Mesa, who was top of our conference, or second conference right now, on Friday night. They're a very good team. They have 2 middles that, if those kids aren't first team All-Americans, I'm going to be shocked. They are phenomenal. They pretty much can do anything you want them to do. Those kids can hit the ball straight down if you let them. And we actually played very, very well against Colorado Mesa on Friday. Some of the best volleyball I've seen us play in terms of following a game plan and stopping some of the better hitters we've seen all year. I mean, those 2 middles from Mesa are the best hitters we have played against all year. And we did a very good job defensively against them. So that's very positive. And then on Saturday, we had a very not so thrilling match against Western State. And, as we continue to ride this roller coaster of rebuilding a program, there will be ups and there will be downs. And unfortunately, we've been down quite a bit, and it's time to go up again. So we have a lot of work going on right now in practice as far as our top priorities, staying consistent, and what we're trying to accomplish in the big picture. Because we need, as coaches, as a coaching staff, as people who are young in our program, what we need to make sure that we're establishing is a consistent culture that is going to last for many, many years. So that's our first priority right now, and winning will come with that. So, it'll be a fun day. We practice today, we practice tomorrow. We head to Denver on Thursday. We're going to stay overnight on the way to Alamosa, because it's a long trip. We'll go to Alamosa on Friday and play Adams State, and then we'll head to Durango on Saturday and play Fort Lewis. So 2 very winnable matches. Those teams are fairly good, but also kind of have some up and down. So if we can really play tough, we can get some wins. Today we have with us Shyann Bastian. She is our freshman setter. Come on, Shyann. Cheyenne is a freshman setter, so if you don't know anything about volleyball, setters are quarterbacks. Setters run plays, call plays, and basically deliver the ball on every single rally. So even if she does not deliver the ball, she will touch a ball in every single possession that we have. So Cheyenne is a very big part of us. We currently have 3 setters on our team. Cheyenne is one of them. Cheyenne has played since the first game of the season. We have run a lot of different offensive options right now. One of our setters is injured, so Cheyenne has been running a 5-1, which means she sets the ball all the time. So she's had a lot of responsibility on her shoulders, but she's done a fantastic job. She's done almost everything we can ask as far as leadership abilities at a young age and accountability and performance, because she continues to stay consistent in her execution all the time. So that's something to be really proud of as far as where we're at. So I'll let Shyann kind of talk about herself, but we are very happy to have her.
Hi everyone, as she said, I am a freshman center. I'm from Laramie, Wyoming, so about 5 hours from here. I really enjoy this university just in general because it gives me the opportunity to study chemical engineering in general. I know as my career, I want to really focus on, this is going to sound lame to some people, but the manufacturing process of asphalt or cement. So I had the opportunity to do an internship with Simon Construction, if you guys know what it is. And they gave me the opportunity to kind of just understand the testing process of asphalt and cement to see how it can be improved and how to make it basically last longer. I know I lived off an interstate, off of I-80 for a really long time, and I know it's, getting done all the time, so I wanted to, improve that in the future. I guess in general with volleyball, it's been an amazing experience. I know that this is a growing program, and the other freshmen, Dana and I, came to this program wanting to, I guess, change it. We want to change the culture. As coaches said, we want to be consistent. We want to really just kind of strive for our next 4 years into making this a winning program.
Questions?
What was your biggest adjustment from high school to college?
My biggest adjustment was, I guess, how much we had to do for volleyball in general. I know we are required, it's just a lot more practice and a lot more, weightlifting and stuff like that. So that was a big transition for me personally, but I would say school is also more difficult to manage with volleyball, but we have really awesome professors, so they make it a lot easier.
I think it's great that that your interest lies where it does with asphalt and concrete. That's terrific to do.
Well, thank you.
So how are we going to get rid of the potholes?
I know, right? Especially around here. This is what it is. No, I am just extremely interested. I do plan on doing an internship next summer, not this summer, but next summer with CAD on improving just, the equipment that we use. So I'm kind of interested in that too.
What I've been impressed with in watching you as a freshman, the fact that Coach says you do touch the ball on every play. Saturday, for example, in the fourth game, I don't know where you guys come up with the energy to continue that. And it's just fun to watch, even though we're kind of down and out, but it looks to me like the team is still full of energy and continuing to try to get better. And that, from a fan's perspective, is fun to watch. And I think that with that continued attitude, you guys are going to be successful soon.
Yes, thank you. We try and create that every day in practice, just kind of bringing the energy. And I know that in volleyball, it makes you a lot better because even if you're down, you can always build towards making it better by having that certain amount of energy.
So answer this question for me. As a setter, I've seen the setters on our team, setters on other teams, where they'll pull their jersey and then they'll flash signs to the team.
Yeah.
Is that to call the next play, or?
That's exactly what it is. So what you do mainly is you tell each hitter what they're going to run, basically. So I'll tell them secretly doing this because we don't want the blockers to know what they're doing. But yeah, I do it probably. So.
And I don't tell her to do it. But you tell which hitter to get set, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, so I tell, so say if we have if I'm back row, there's 3 hitters up front, so I will tell each one which set they're going to get, basically. So a 1 is a faster middle set, and then there's a 4, which is the outside, and then there's a C, which is the back right side. So we'll kind of switch it up a lot of times.
Do teams steal signs? Like in basketball, we call it eye hockey. They're stealing our signals.
Yeah,
They do that?
Hard Essentially, yeah, because it's about the same for a lot of programs, so yeah, they tend to steal it or they'll know, so that's why you gotta hide it. So. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thank you. So now our next speaker is we'll bring up Coach Tinker. He'll recap what went on Saturday night, and then he'll give us a little preview about App State, and you know, if we could have every game the rest of the year, kind of like Saturday, I'd be all for it, Coach. Come on.
How's everybody doing?
Great.
Good.
Where's the trophy?
The trophy's actually right here. This is the homestake trophy. Do stretch out before you pick it up. It's got a little bit more girth to it than people think. It's a hefty trophy. So, but it felt pretty light on Saturday night. There's no question about it. I thought our guys were very, very juiced up. Couple things. Last week on Thursday night, Janice and Roger Knudsen, Kai's parents, most of you guys know, folks know Kai, who's around our programs, basketball and football. Kai's been a big supporter of us, comes out to practices on Thursday. His family had us over to their home for dinner on Thursday night. And I've not seen an operation quite like that before. I've seen lasagna, salad, rolls, pie, the whole 9 yards. And that produced some pretty solid results. So I'm accepting invitations. Anybody that wants to have the team over is what I'm telling you. So if anybody has the energy and the juice to pull that off, I thank Roger, Janice, and Kai for their hospitality and for having the men over. I know for our coaches who hadn't been through it before, for our players who hadn't been through it before, I think everybody was just pretty overwhelmed by the procedure. We fed 100 folks and got them out of there in about 33 minutes. It was brilliant. So thank you to them. Wanted to congratulate the 3 coordinators that are all new. Coach Dixon, our special teams coordinator, Coach Linhart, our offensive coordinator, and Coach Levy Suyamoa, our defensive coordinator. I know I did not win my first homestake trophy game as a coordinator. We didn't even, I don't even know, we might have scored a touchdown, but our extra point got blocked. Something, it wasn't good. So I know the pressure that goes into that, so congratulations to those men, because it feels a lot better to win than it does to lose. And then finally, you know, to my crew at home, you know, it was a pretty stressful week last week. We didn't play very good football at Pueblo. It was, and this is Juliana's last homestake trophy game. So that was a big day for our family. So I appreciate the work that went into that. It was a tough 54 weeks without the trophy. So it's tougher on everybody else than it is on the players and the coaches. So appreciate what those folks have done. Move forward to the game. I mean, we just came out on fire. The juice was over the top. Isaiah Manley, the opening kickoff, and then just punching it down there, then doing it again, and then they kind of got one going. You know, we're playing about 7 true freshmen on defense. 4 of them started. And so I was really nervous about whether or not we were going to be able to handle the intensity of the game, just having never been in one before. And once we settled in, we were brilliant. But there was one drive in that second quarter where we were like, we kind of missed a couple tackles, whatever, had a couple mistakes, and they scored. And then Isaiah returns kickoff again, and then Isaiah gets open on the touchdown pass over the top, and really kind of took all the juice away at that moment and kept it all on our side. So tremendous response by our men. Our best players played really, really well on Saturday. And then again in the second quarter, we actually made our one mistake in the first half on a fumble, on a little run play, and they had great field position, only down a couple scores, and then our defense came out and the LPD just put the clamps down, completely smothered their attempt, and then forced a field goal attempt and then blocked it. Dominic Jackson blocked the field goal attempt, and now 5 or 6 plays later, we're in the end zone, and at that point, really, it seemed like we were in control. And we didn't let up, and I was really proud of our men for that. Really impressive night of football. So, players of the week from last week, we have a bunch of them. I mean, it seems like everybody gets recognition when you do well. Our service player, Scott Sellers, is a defensive back out of Colorado Springs, Colorado. Plays with his hair on fire. sometimes we got to pump the brakes with him a little bit during practice because he's got a little, almost too much juice, which isn't a real thing. But he didn't target anybody during practice last week, so he gave Player of the Week for LPD. He plays really hard. I like it. Ezekiel Johnson, another Colorado guy, was our Player of the Week for service on offense. He's a running back. He's redshirting this year. Our SWAT Player of the Week was number 43, Shane Whitmire from Arvada, Colorado. And Shane, just a couple of big plays on kickoff. And when you kick off 11 times, you got to go down and cover it 11 times. And we were able to do that. He was awesome. He had his best game as a hard rocker. He's a sophomore. Our high-octane rookie is our big offensive tackle, number 75, Grant Smith, who he's just a lovely human being. He's very large and he blocks other guys, which is something I really respect. Our LPD Rookie of the Week was Stephen Nolasco, number 30. Stephen's a transfer. Played his best game by far. He's out of Garfield, New Jersey. He's our only New Jersey product on the team. But he came from Ventura College, and Stephen, BH has this number 5, the receiver, and they move him around a lot. And he has given everybody problems all year long. And he had 2 catches on Saturday for about 11 yards. But every time Stephen was on him, he didn't touch the football. So Stephen did a great job on that. We're going to need a big time effort from our secondary again this coming week. Our high octane Player of the Week, I don't think it's much of a surprise, is number 6, Connor Silvera out of Redding, California. 227 rushing yards, a couple dozen passing or receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns, which is a good season for a lot of guys, but a heck of a night for Connor. Connor is 2-0 in home state trophy games because he was injured all of last season to get to play. So I'm going to petition for him to get a 3rd opportunity if we can, because he was a huge difference maker. I thought the very first touchdown of the game, he got the ball in the flat. He absolutely obliterated the human that was attempting to tackle him at about the 2-yard line. And it sent a physical message for the way the game was going to go. Our defensive LPD Player of the Week was Adrian Eastman, number 21. He had the interception at the end of the first half. He has just really developed. He's a rookie. He's a freshman. He was in high school last year. He's out of Gilbert, Arizona. He's really developed. He's gotten so much better. He's got a really bright future. Pickaxe Player on offense is our quarterback, number 7, Jake Sullivan. There's so much pressure on Jake. I don't think people quite understand when you're the hometown guys, all that goes along with that, the media obligations, the people asking you questions, having to be the face of the program, and then having to live with the debacle of our game against them a season ago for as long as he did. He was not going to let us lose on Saturday. He was on fire, and he took some beautiful photos after the game. He is a handsome person. If you follow Jake on Instagram, give him a like, because he looks really, really good with the trophy. And then our pickaxe Player on defense had a huge sack early in the game that really stopped some of their momentum, is number 56, Andrew Montoya from Rapid City, South Dakota. Some people know him in the room, I don't know. He was, when Adrian Perez, number 64, went down, that had a major impact on the performance of our defense. From not only Adrian being very good, also how respected he is by his teammates, how much they look to him, how much they view him as such a force for our team. And we kind of spent most of that Dixie game and most of the Pueblo game in a fog a little bit on defense. We lost some confidence on defense, and then I thought just the way the defensive line played, and Andrew specifically, we got our confidence back on defense, and we played with a ton of confidence on Saturday night. And if it wasn't for a couple penalties, could have had a shutout on Saturday night, and Andrew was a big part of that. So that's the scoop on that game and where we were and where we're going, is this game against Adams State on Saturday night, or Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock. Adams State is the premier offense in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference, which pains me to say that, but give them credit where credit is due. They have an incredible passing offense. They also run the ball extremely well. Their quarterback was the Player of the Week at the RMAC this past week. Their receivers, they have 2 receivers that are among the better ones we'll see in all of Division II college football. They're playing with a ton of confidence. They lost their first 2 and have won 4 straight. They beat Chadron State a week ago, 65-62, and If you think it sounds crazy, you should have watched it. It was a crazy football game with a ton of really good playmakers. So we're going to be totally challenged. It's a big day for our defense, a chance to play against a really good opponent. And it's our first chance really as a program to see a really good team coming down the field. We haven't had that yet. We are undefeated at Dunham Field at O'Hara Stadium, and we intend to keep it that way on Saturday. That's a goal of ours. But we're going to be challenged like we haven't been challenged all season here. So it's going to require a little extra juice. So if you thought, I brought you everything I had for the home state trophy game, go recharge your battery, take Thursday off of work, all right? Get yourself ready to go, and come in on Saturday and bring your A game so we have an opportunity to beat a really tough Adams State team and get back into the RMAC race. So that's the scoop on where we were and where we're going, and I'll be happy to take any questions, and then you guys can do photos with the trophy later if you'd like as well. So any questions? I know this table usually starts with questions. So you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Decision time, when you're coaching, you're up like that, when to take people out, when to put, the top, especially on a home state game?
Yeah, so the question is it tough to decide when to kind of pull guys out and do that whole deal? We were going to do whatever was required to win the football game on Saturday night. That was the number one most important thing to me, and that's what we did. And yeah, that is a tough decision, but it really wasn't. We have had a hard time finishing games. We need some fourth quarter experience, and so our best players need to play in order for us to get what we need to get done. So, but yeah.
In the Adams State Saturday game, how was their balance for passing versus rushing for Adams?
So the balance of passing and rushing that Adams had against Shadron State, they've got a really big back, number 15, and he's hard to tackle. And so what's happening is they're doing pretty much what good teams do, which is if you deploy a lot of people to cover the pass, they run the football. And if you deploy a bunch of people to stop the run, they'll throw the football. It's that simple. So every time Shadron deployed guys to cover the pass, they ran it, and that was about, 40% of the time, and every time they deployed people to stop the run, they threw it, and that was about 60% of the time. So something about like that. Good balanced football team there. It'll be a great challenge. I know that if we play with the juice we play with on the defensive line, that will give us a chance to get after them. If number 4, their quarterback Rumi, is able to just pat the ball and hang out, kind of like our guy did on Saturday night. Jake was back there. Offensive line played really well. Jake was back there, sort of making choices. If we allow a quarterback to do that, we're in trouble. But we haven't done that all season, and I don't expect us to do it on Saturday. I expect us to be a factor in terms of effectiveness, ability to be comfortable.
Them giving up 62 obviously shows that we could score a lot of points too.
Yeah, I mean, you'd like to think so.
Yeah.
You'd like to think so. We think we're pretty good on offense.
Yeah.
We think we're pretty good on defense. I thought we played all 3 phases, by far our most complete game on Saturday night. I would think we'd have some confidence offensively, but we have a ton of respect for that. They have really nice athletes there. They really do. They're younger on defense. They're kind of like us, where they have more of their youth is on defense and more of their experience is on offense. So I'm hoping that they play youthful on Saturday. I know that people don't like coming and playing at Dunham Field. They just, it's not fun. And that's what we wanted. We want it to be uncomfortable when they come here. We want it to be, man, it's a long trip, and there's people in these cars, and this is awkward, and all that stuff. And then, we hope that the way we play makes them uncomfortable too. And that's the plan. Yeah.
We got to help make them uncomfortable. I think it was in the second half. I don't know if Connor had cut back or what, but Jake came out and pancaked that corner.
Oh.
I explained to the sideline what that was.
Yeah. I tell you, Jake went out and made a block, and let's be honest, I think the guy tripped. I don't know that. We're going to have to check the video on it. But it was, sometimes I'll just kind of watch our sideline. When Jake made that play on that cutback, our sideline lost their minds, and they got very, it was a pretty juicy play, because Jake doesn't like to be involved in those types of physical altercations all that often. I don't really like him involved in them either. Brian?
That first quarter Saturday was awesome.
Yeah.
The second quarter was phenomenal, especially that last 4 minutes. It's easy for a team first quarter come out really juiceful, but you took it to another level in that second quarter, I thought. that's hard to do, I think, for a team, when you, especially when you're up 14. What was the mindset of the guys and you as coaches? You didn't take your foot off the gas pedal one bit.
Yeah, the question kind of is, you've taken no, we were very determined. And I would tell you that our veteran players, our best players, had a plan. And their plan was to do what they did. And it was not, and our job was to kind of get out of their way, and let them do what needed to be done, It said, everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. And everybody wants to talk about what they're going to do. Our men went out and did it, and that's what they're supposed to do. And it was fun to watch. I think we'll look back in the rearview mirror, and it'll be a fun game to look back on. Unfortunately, I haven't slept because I keep watching Athens State film. So we're on to the next one. I would tell you that the joy of winning the home stake trophy is greatly outweighed by the sorrow of losing the home stake trophy. So the game lingers when you lose. When you win, you move on quickly. And so that's what we're doing right now, is moving on quickly. But yeah, I like the way we played. We played with good juice, and that's one of the reasons and I thought it was awesome. In the third quarter, we kicked off to them, we stopped them, and then we took about 6 minutes and drove the ball down the field and scored again. And any ray of hope we tried to extinguish at that time, which was something we don't do well all the time. It's hard to keep the attention of a college football team. It changes week to week based on who talked to who and what girl smiled at me and what I had for dinner and what my chem professor said and it's not the pros, So you're right, it's hard to keep the pedal down, but that's what we got to do this week.
What was your message at halftime?
I can't tell you what I said at halftime, Tom. I was pretty animated. We were humiliated a season ago by losing that halftime lead, and that wasn't going to happen again. So we were direct with our message.
Let's get back to this Thursday deal.
Yeah.
Can you speak a little bit more and maybe direct it to the guy to your right there a little bit?
I thought it was awesome. I thought it was, this Thursday day off or Thursday meal? Both. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think you got to take a day off this week if you're a real hard rocker. Get yourself ready to go for Saturday. And Joel will provide written email. Joel emailed me this morning and said, hey, whatever we need to do. We'll be working, but you guys can feel free to get your stuff. Okay? All right, guys. Thanks for all your support, Rocker.
Monday was a day off. No, hey, you talk about this, go back into my coaching. We used to talk about all the time in baseball. Coach Tinker says, your best players making best plays. In hindsight, in retrospect, you look at that, Connor Silvera's running through that young man for Black Hills State absolutely set the tone for the rest of his team and made a statement of, we're bringing it to you, and you've got nothing that's going to stand in our way. Coach Torvi and I have talked about body language and things, how your best players have to hold your other players accountable. And when you truly have championship caliber teams, coaches do everything they need to do in practice, and then when it's game time, they just kind of step back and watch it take place. Our best teams in baseball is we held them accountable every single day in everything they did, from bunting to throwing to fielding to batting practice to warm-ups to picking up the field, and then on Friday and Saturday afternoon stood in the coach's box and put on a couple signs. It was seriously that easy. When you have good players that do that will hold themselves accountable, you're going to have championship caliber teams. When you don't, and you've got to manage them and teach them and tell them how to go do things, by the time they're juniors and seniors, we're probably not doing our job right. So it is absolutely, I remember sitting in the tent when Connor ran through that kid, I looked over to Dennis Rainey and I said, Connor's come to play with a purpose tonight. And the rest of the game, he showed that. The team was phenomenal. So I appreciate everything that you guys all do. There's one thing that I really love the ramps, and I like the ramps because it brings a whole different look, a whole different mentality to the game. Coach Tinker's right. Teams don't like to come here because they've never seen it before. But sometimes our fans get wrapped up into the social aspect of the ramps. And I'm talking about engaged alumni who says, well, I really only watch like 25% of the game because I'm doing something else. We could have the single best Division II home field advantage in the country because you guys could all be honking your horns, making so much noise when our defense is out there that the offensive team, whoever we're playing, wouldn't have the slightest idea what's going on because they couldn't and they won't be prepared for the noise. So that's my challenge to you on Saturday. I'm being serious here. On third down, we put up the flasher, make noise. There's no coincidence that that big board has horns honking. That's supposed to be subtlety for everyone sitting in the ramps to make noise. And in football, we can do that. We can have outside noisemakers. No other sport can we do that. But in football, we can. If you go to Mesa, their band is sitting right behind our bench. Their cheerleaders, their student section is sitting right behind our bench. That's home field advantage. That's what you got down here. That's what we got. Just roll that window down, stand by your horn, hold your beverage of choice, and honk like crazy when we're on defense. I'm not kidding. Give us a home field advantage. And then if there's someone next to you in the ramp, a vehicle, ask them to do the same thing. Make it a problem so the officials have to come talk to me. That would be a great problem, a great discussion for me and the commissioner to have. I'd embrace that. Thank you for everything you do. Thanks for coming today. Thank you for Poncheros. And Dr. Simonson, fill those pockets up.